Okay, so if you are a small government contractor and you are working with and calling teaming partners to get potential quotes for your offers and your solicitations that you're going after, for example, say on sam.gov, this video is for you because today we're going to be covering 10 things. I have a list that you should be looking for and considering when you are in the research stage of reaching out to these potential teaming partners and folks who would be subcontractors with you should you win a government contract. And so with that being said, these are not in any particular order. I just have them kind of listed in front of me and we will take them one by one. Okay, so to get started, the first thing that, well, not the first thing because we're not going in order, right? But the first thing on the list here is making sure that you have 10 places to call. And this is the only one where we're speaking a little bit generically. But making sure that you have up to, if not more, 10 companies to call for a particular opportunity is very, very important. For example, if you're looking for janitorial, you're going after janitorial solicitation on sam.gov and you're looking for a janitorial teaming partner, if you can only find a few janitorial service companies in the respective area that the place of performance is on this contract, if there's only a few, for example, maybe you're searching Google Maps, that's going to be a problem because typically you are looking for 2 or 3 quotes, right? So that you have something to compare your quotes to. You're not just getting one. Your odds of getting 100% of the companies in that area to even respond to you, to pick up the phone, to listen to your pitch, if you will, right? To have a discovery call with you to see if there is the interest, right? And maybe going to the site visit, reviewing the statement of work, right? Getting even to those stages, it's incredibly low that 100% of those, if there's only around 3 companies, are going to go through the entire process with you. And if that's the goal where you need to end up, that means you have to have more numbers to work with in the first place. So again, I like 10, it's a nice round number. If you're not finding around 10, a dozen companies that provide this in the service area, it could be a reason to quickly no-bid this opportunity before even waste the time to go after and start calling these folks to see if you can get them on the phone. It just could be a real time saver. Now, I'm not saying it's always going to be the case. You could get multiple of those companies. You could get 100% of those 3 to pick up the phone and maybe quote you. It is possible, so you will want to use your own discretion. But with that being said, once again, the odds are against you. It's unlikely. And so when we're playing this kind of game of odds and risk and chances, we want to go after opportunities that are more in our favor because there's always an opportunity cost to what we're doing. You know, if we're doing this, we could be doing that. Make sense? So number 2, another thing that you can consider is going to the BBB, right? The Better Business Bureau. And this can even be a good resource, a good free resource for all of you. Go to bbb.org, BBB.org, and you can type in your, whatever it is, the service area, plumbing, roofing, janitorial, and then you can put in the zip code, which would be, again, the place of performance. And it will provide a list of companies for you, and it'll also show companies that are actually listed or certified through the Better Business Bureau, and it'll also show other companies that maybe are not certified. But if you can find companies that are certified on there, why not start with those first? Because you already know that those companies have a strong reputation, a strong commitment to having, again, and being a better business in the area that will allow them to stand out against their competitors and potentially be even a good teaming partner for you on the contracts that you're going after as a team. So I don't see a lot of you guys doing this. A lot of small gov content in the space don't spend too much time on BBB, but we don't want to undervalue it because it is a free resource. And after all, if we are at these early stages of doing the research before we get on the phone to call, so that we're not wasting our time calling folks that are not even going to be a good fit for us, or they're going to be risky, this could be a real time saver. And it might even put you in touch with, good, high-quality companies that maybe you wouldn't have found in other searches, perhaps. We don't know for sure. So next, we're also looking to see if they're a small business or if they are a large business. I talk about legal middlemaning all the time, right? Not just middlemaning, but legal middlemaning, because we have to take into considerations, and I cover it in my other videos, is it above or below the simplified acquisition threshold? What is the set aside on the opportunity? Is it total small, or is it more socioeconomic, like 8A, hub zone, veteran-owned, or woman-owned, right? Or is it maybe full and open, unrestricted? Okay, every bid is different, and we have to answer these questions for every single opportunity that we're considering to go after. Now, with that being said, that also affects our teaming strategy. So that will change for every single opportunity as well. Are we allowed to do a full legal middleman move per the regulations or not is going to depend on the answers to those questions. So, for example, let's say if you are going after a total small set aside, total small business set aside opportunity in SAM.gov, and let's say we're just anticipating that this is going to be above the SAT. Maybe we plug the solicitation into ChatGPT, get some early preliminary pricing so that we can help to influence our strategy very early on without investing too much time. Is this going to be above or below 250K, right? So if we know it's going to be well over that, and even if ChatGPT isn't, 100% accurate, because it's not, at least it's getting us ballpark. So it's going to say, okay, if this is total small business and if this is over 250K, right, we are responsible to do 50% of the work in services, or we are responsible to work with what's called, and you can read it in the FAR, a similarly situated entity, because they share the same small business program size as us. If we're going to speak and be compliant with something like limitations on subcontracting, which is the regulation that I'm speaking to here. So we can easily early influence our strategy. And if we know the company that we're working with has to be similarly situated, stay with me here, that means they have to also be small. So the companies then, as this relates and what this means, has to also be small. So if we're calling janitorial companies and they're just a large, nationwide company, they're not going to be a small business partner to stay within the confines, within the regulations of performing on this service contract. You follow me? I certainly go into, I have many other resources. I have my book, govkidmethod.com/book. If you really need to understand these regulations, I'm going through them super quick because that's not the purpose of this video. But again, finding out if they are small early on to make sure if your strategy is even going to be compliant and be able to do it, if it's going to work, is something that you should be looking for. And this, there's a number of signs that you could look for. None of them are necessarily 100%. But again, small, we're talking about the company's revenue, as it relates to the size standard of the NAICS code for that opportunity. If it's a $9 million NAICS code, okay, so you have to have under $1 million, under $9 million, right, over the last few years, typically a 3-year trailing average for their small business in order to be considered small under that NAICS code, to be eligible to be small under that NAICS code. If it's a $20, $30 million company, annual revenue, they're going to be considered large, and they're not going to be able to compete in that smaller space. So we're looking for revenue size, and perhaps that comes out in an eventual conversation at the very least. But before that, we're looking for telltale signs. Just what would you consider? For a very small company, very small mom and pop shop, versus a company that's maybe more established, versus a company that's large. Like, what are the telltale signs? Where is the money? Where is the branding? How big is the building, right? How many vehicles do they have out in their parking lot? Look for these clues when you're doing your research online to help influence whether they're likely to be within the small dollar value range, or if not. And if it's like, oh yeah, this company definitely looks, they've got 5 locations. There's no way they're only going to be doing, $4 million a year. Whatever your NAICS code is for this particular opportunity will indicate that. Then you can know, like, okay, it's probably best not to call them. And you can ask them, like I said, at the very least. But we're talking about research here, and that's something that I definitely want you guys considering as we go through these. Now, next, and there's a few in here that are a little bit, known, so I won't spend too much time on them. But next, what is their distance from the place of performance? Is it an hour drive for them to go to the site visit? Is it 15 minutes? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 45 minutes? Okay, this is really important because it's going to affect your offer, because the further they are, the more they're going to charge you for travel and whatever else is required in the scope. And if there's a lot of travel required for the contract, that's definitely going to influence your price. If it's 2 hours, 3 hours drive, right, we're looking at maybe not getting the most competitive pricing because they're so far away. Now, if they're one of only a few companies that can provide this and they're 3 hours away, it's a very remote area, well then, contracting is going to be expecting that, and no one's going to find somebody 5-10 minutes away to really undercut you. Then okay, you could still do it, but as long as it's something that they're interested in for a contract, because that's going to be a lot of back and forth travel for them. So it's something to consider, the distance from the place of performance when you are finding. And in addition to number one, like I said, are there at least 10 places to call, right? For this one, if there's only a couple and it's super remote, you have to consider that as well, that they just might not even be up to play ball. But at the same time, there might be fewer competitors going after this for that same reason. We just don't know. I like to showcase kind of both sides of how this could go. You're going to find out for yourself as you're calling and you're doing the research, right? But I'm just trying to plant these seeds because you're going to run into all these things that I'm sharing with you eventually, and some of you have probably already run into a lot of these on your own. Anyways, so keeping things rolling, we do have actually, I kind of got ahead of myself. So let's do this one next. And this one's a little fun. Social media and LinkedIn. So what can this tell us? For one, it can tell us how active are they? How modern, how up with the times are they? It's not a requirement to be a teaming partner or eventual subcontractor on a government contract. Of course it's not. But I would like to know, you might like to know, how active are they? What are the things that they're posting? I don't want to get into too many of the other things, but what are the other customers saying about them? Like, how proud are they of their work? Are they able to show off their work? Whatever it is, roofing, plumbing, sidewalks, fences, staffing. Like, okay, there can be a case made for all businesses these days, and there is social media for all of these companies, right? So whether they've made the choice to do it or not, again, speaks to perhaps their size and their budget. Maybe it speaks towards the owner, right? If they're a little bit slower with the times, maybe it's just a really outdated owner. Maybe, they're not really involved in the business, but they still makes the key operation decisions and it's kind of holding the business back in that way. All these things help to paint a picture of maybe who you're going to be getting on the phone with if you call them, right? It might just be him or her who picks up the phone. It might be a team of 3. We don't know. But I like to be as informed as possible by doing research before picking up the phone, because it really it makes me feel more comfortable and confident with who I'm speaking with and like what is the business and the operations and how do they operate. These things do not directly relate to contract performance, but they do directly relate to, again, the operations and how they run things. And that's very important to you as a federal contractor who's going to be teaming with a company that you're going to be speaking with every single week on a regular basis to manage the contract, again, at the very least, right? So operations, and I guess what I'm trying to say with this one is, more often than not, how you do one thing is typically how you do everything. If the company has signs of being sloppy, they're probably going to be sloppy with you. If the company has signs of just not being, with the times, they're a bit slower, they're about outdated, they're probably going to be a bit slower and outdated to get you what you need, right? Because typically how somebody does one thing is how they do everything. Now, of course, we're talking about a company here, and there can be more, multiple people in operations within a company, of course. So maybe you're speaking with one person, but you'll be working with another. That's entirely possible. But again, we're just working with the information that we have at hand. And then also I had put down LinkedIn too. So if they have a strong LinkedIn presence, they're active, that's also a very good sign. Not a requirement, of course, but it's also something to do research on. Everything's on the internet these days, right? With that being said, we are looking at website. Another clue, another indication. Does the website look new? Does it look like it was made 20 years ago and it hasn't been updated? How are they keeping up with the times? As I said, what information though are they putting on their websites? And that will tie to a few of these other as well. Like, what info is available on the website? Do they have projects? Do they have contact us? Is there a way for you to easily reach out to them. I mean, do they just have one phone number hidden somewhere, maybe in the footer, and you just, these are clues. And I hope you understand what I'm saying. None of these are just a grand slam. Oh, yes, I should work with them. Oh, no, I shouldn't work with them. But all these details really add up to paint a really accurate picture in my findings. So do they even have a website, right? Are they pulling up in Yelp? Are they pulling up in the other, trusted, rating sites, okay? If you're in Google Maps, how are they pulling up? Is it just a phone number? Do they have the website? All these things, I think, matter a lot. Now, next, number 6, cage code. We talk about this one a lot. Definitely try to look the company up. Look up their entity registration in sam.gov. Okay, there's a way to search for that. Instead of searching by contract, search by entity. And if their company, name pulls up or doesn't pull up, make sure you use a couple different variations, perhaps with or without an LLC or however they are incorporated. Again, perhaps on the website or in the search results. Even if you're just going on Google, see what pulls up for them. You have no idea what might pull up for them. Lawsuits and all sorts of interesting things are going to pull up. Certainly something you would want to know before you get into a subcontract agreement on a federal government contract if this company has a reputation for being sued for malpractice in the past or whatever, not treating partners fairly, other joint ventures. We just never know what's going on. These companies, they're capable of anything. We don't want to put ourselves at any more risk than we have to. So there's a lot of information that can be on a website, of course, and most of you understand that. A lot of you probably are already doing that. Website, and then hand in hand with the cage code. Don't want to get confused here. You can search that up on sam.gov. There's also the dynamic small business search, DSBS. Any way that you can look them up to see if they don't already have a cage code. They're not a government contractor that's going to cut you out of the deal is absolutely the time. This is the latest time to do it. You don't want to have a couple conversations with somebody only to find out that they're going to say, thanks for the info, thanks, but no thanks, we're going to go after this directly. Now, next is, it's about their niche. For example, and the construction is the best example. Are they like a general contractor? Are they further subbing this work out? Again, use all these things we're talking about today to help you answer this question. Are they self-performing it themselves? Do they look more like a GC where they're just going to hire it out? If so, that's going to affect our teaming strategy. It's going to affect how we work within the regulations because any work further subcontracted out to another subcontractor, so that would be a tier 2 subcontractor per the limitations on subcontracting, right? Any work further subcontracted is going to count towards your 50%, meaning you can't exceed the 50% without self-performing it. So if you're working with teaming partners, similar situated entities, that's great, right? But if a sub is going to sub it out to another sub, now things are getting a little crazy because they could be giving it to a large business. You know what I'm saying? But if they happen to be subbing it out to another total small, now we got 3 small businesses, well, that technically still becomes a similarly situated team. So it all really depends. And it's just really funny how some of these things can play out because I had a conversation last week with one of our students in a 90-day bid challenge. And, what had happened was he had bid on he had received a phone call in the spring, to provide market research and pricing on an opportunity that he never heard anything back. So he figured whatever. Then he got a call recently saying, hey, we're an 8A company, right? And contracting, told us that you helped with the market research. And hey, this isn't really our scope, so we want to work with you on this, right? But then when he provided that, he was working with a small business vendor to provide that quote, right? So there's multiple links in this chain. And it's funny because we always don't hear about this, but these things really do happen. So as part of the research process, do they have their own employees? What does it look like on the website? Do they have a team page? Whatever, showing their credentials, their certifications, their licenses, all that stuff could be on the site or elsewhere on the internet, right? Of course, we're looking for all these things. And sometimes it's really just too funny. But Sometimes even that is possible. It all depends on you understanding the regulations. So is it within their niche? Are they subbing it out? What does all that look like? Next, big one, very common sense, but huge, is reviews, testimonials. What are their customers truly saying about them? Okay, again, we spoke about Yelp, but do they have testimonials on their website? Again, tying to social media, are they showcasing their projects? What is it? And what is the general consensus? Are they 3 stars? Are they 4 stars? Are they 5 stars? 4.5 stars? Whatever, right? That's gonna very much influence if you even wanna pick up the phone. And that would be a great use of time to find reviews for every company that you're considering calling, potentially to work with, as part of your vetting criteria here. And I don't think there's much more to say about this. Amazon's, really pioneered that over the last, 20 years, where you're able to actually have a collection of reviews. Remember back in the day, and people would be kind of like full-time reviewers of products, and, it was a whole thing. And now in this day and age, it's just commonplace. Like the reviews, the testimonials, they're public, they're online. What do they say matters a lot. Now next, again, fairly common sense, but I have past performance slash year. So for the year, like how long have they been in business? When did they start? Have they only been around for a couple of years? Can you find that out? Have they been around for 10 or 20 years? That's really important information to try to find out before calling them. Similarly, what are the projects? What are the size of the projects? Again, we're probably looking on the website for this. Are the projects that they've completed, are they similar in size and scope to the opportunity that you are, going after? Is it, are you going after $1 million job and it looks like they do $50,000 jobs? It's gonna probably be too big for them, okay? And vice versa. If this is a very, very relatively small job, but it looks like they're doing 10 million plus projects, it might be too small for them. Okay, and if it's somewhere in the middle and they're somewhere in the middle, maybe it makes sense, right? We just don't know, but as we're doing our research, we're seeing how new are they, which is going to indicate somewhat, but then also, do we have any website information? Do we have any other testimonials? Okay, there's multiple places where the size and type of contracts could be, investigated through these other resources. Now, I suppose that's the last one because I have 2 3s. So I listed 1 through 10, but I wanted to do the social media one sooner. So that would be the last of the 10 on the list, past performance / the year built. And truly, like this list, it's not necessarily earth-shattering information, but compared to what you're doing, you could spend 10, 15 minutes for every company before you call them to go through this list of 10 items, and it's really going to make you more comfortable when getting on the call. And that's really the point here. The face value of the information is very valuable. Yes, that is important too. But so many of you are struggling with intimidation to get on the phone to call a teaming partner. You're not exactly sure what to say, but guess what? When you know so much more about them, the more informed you are, it makes you more comfortable. It makes you more confident. It doesn't make you sound desperate on the phone. And these are the things that get in the way of your deals progressing past like a stage 1 discovery call. So beyond the face value of the information, being in a more informed state from doing this research before you call every single teaming partner, again, just invest 10, 15 minutes, it's going to make your calls better. And guess what happens when your calls get better? You get more people that are wanting you to, take that next step, right? Which is an NDA, which is a statement of work, which is a site visit, if there is one, for them to further review and perhaps move forward and start working on this. So confidence is everything. So this is really just a skill builder, okay? It's a skill builder in multiple different ways. If you guys want additional training, you're on YouTube University right now. If you've got only 30 minutes, okay, you got to go to work, your break ends, but you've got 30 minutes. I do have my free training, Win Contracts Fast Without Wasting Time and Money. It is going to be a great use of your time. and you're going to get a 12-month plan, essentially showing you what not to focus on and instead what to focus on. We clear everything off the table. Many of you guys, I speak with you and you're just focused on all the wrong things, and doing all the wrong things for too long is going to make you feel demoralized. It's going to make you feel burnt out, and you're not going to have anything to show for it. You're not going to have contracts submitted, and you're certainly not going to have any awards. So if you're someone who recently got your cage code last month, 3 months, 6 months, even if it was this year, but you're not making the progress and getting the traction that you want, that's what win contracts fast without wasting time and money is for. Because we're going to avoid all the traps that could cost you a lot of time and money, and instead you're going to get hyper-focused on doing the work that's going to matter to get you the progress and the traction that you're needing. Aside from that, guys, if you've recently won a contract, you're needing financing, forms of factoring, lines of credit, you can reach out to us at support@govkidmethod.com. We can support you. If you need proposal writing, if you need, what else do we have? I'm drawing a blank. Accounting, BD, capture management type stuff. If you're an established business and you want a whole proposal team to just submit proposals on your behalf, we've got a number of connections. If you need help with CMMC training, we've got a lot of resources with a lot of relationships that I've personally built in the space that I'm happy to connect you all with and put you in good hands. If you are stuck, if you're at a stage where you're needing those levels of support, by all means. And for me personally, we've got the book. I don't have a copy here with me right now. govkidmethod.com/book. Get the legal middleman method to help navigate the regulations, learn how to call teaming partners, learn how to put together winning proposal responses, and play the 12-month game to winning your next contracts. The book will show you how to do all that. I've also got my flagship course if you're someone who's looking for like an ongoing self-study program. It's incredibly comprehensive. I believe it's the best program on the market. That's what you all say. And you don't have to hear it from me. You can read the testimonials. People are winning contracts just from doing the self-study course, govkidmethod.com/course. And then the other thing that we got going on is our 90-day bid challenge, where I work with you to respond to 10 federal contracts over the next 90 days, okay? Very involved. It's my most high-level program, and it's because it's a lot of my time. And you can, again, visit the website. I've got details there under our 90-day bid challenge link. Or for any of these services, guys, just email me, support@govkidmethod.com. I see all emails that come in, and they go directly to my team, and we will get a response back to you very quickly. So support@govkidmethod.com. Don't forget to, smash the like button. We've been attacked by the algorithm, okay? So we need all the subscribers. We need all the comments. We need all the love here on the channel to get the algorithm back on our side so that our channel can start growing again. So your subscription really does matter. So if you're watching this, you're new to finding me, I am committed to bringing you the truth and the transparency in government contracting that others won't give you and that the industry won't tell you, okay? So I'm committed to telling you what you need to hear, not just what you want to hear. The proof is in the pudding. I provide so much free content here on the channel that is more valuable than what others will charge you money for. So I try to lead with value. And of course, we have other ways to support you if you want to go deeper. But just earning your subscription really helps to get the algorithm back on our side. So definitely subscribe. And if you are a new subscriber here, welcome. And I'm so happy to have you part of the community here with us, where we are doing our daily dose. If you don't know, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. Central Time, we are posting trainings on a daily basis. Of course, I need the weekends off to help my voice to recover with everything we've got going on. But you can literally come on the GovKid Method channel at 8:30 a.m. on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, and then on Fridays, what we've been doing lately around a little bit later, around 9:15, 9:30, we're going live. So we're back to doing our Sam Bids live episodes, which is an hour and a half plus of live bid trainings going on sam.gov, going through live bid opportunities, answer your questions along the way. So we've just got so much to offer here, and we really need to get the word out. And anything you can do, a like, a comment, a share, send our videos to your friends, your colleagues, if you know they would benefit from the education. You guys can do so much more word of mouth than I ever could do. And that's why I'm going to keep making, free, great trainings for you all, again, pushing on that daily dose. And like I said, we hang out on Fridays. So I would say that's about it for today. Let me know what you thought of this video. We covered the 10 areas of research when calling or before calling subcontractors, before calling potential teaming partners. And until next time, guys, you got this.